Are we live? Okay, we are. All right, here we go. I'm going to do my thing. Hey, it's another day. We're on the Sunday. I was going to say Sunday show, but I fucked it up. Hey, it's another day, and this is Calling It Now. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, like how MAGA and religious people are ridiculous. And if you would like to come along, we'll sing a song, or we'll just talk to people. 33654320101. Here's the show. That one was bad. That was a bad
one. I understand what you did there. I don't think it was necessarily good, but I understood it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just kind of, we got to have a song. Like there's got to be one today. And I phoned it in a little bit. Welcome, everybody. It is September 28th, 2025, the year of our non-existent. I mean, even if he exists, the Lord is just not doing shit these days. And I think no one feels that more today than the Mormons, who, while they must be feeling simultaneously sad and a slight amount of elation, not unlike a widow might feel when posting to Instagram with a corpse. No examples specific, of the ability to absolutely project themselves as terribly oppressed victims. So we're going to be talking about all that. But what we are here to do today, myself, Jimmy Snow, and Jovan Bradley, is talk to people from MAGA, from Christianity, from, honestly, I'll take any theistic religion, to talk to people as we here, secular, humanist, leftists. We are here to talk about.
I'm not a leftist anymore. Donald Trump, don't label me a terrorist.
Oh no! Did you? Is that in there too?
Basically everything.
I'm reading the summary over here. It looks like entities coordinating acts of doxing, swatting, rioting, and arson now subject to federal terrorism investigations and prosecution. Which arson, sure. Rioting, we're going to need a very good definition of, because under Trump's government, rioting is going to be like, you protested loudly. That's going to be something. How are you going to do acts of doxing when that's all Twitter is now? It's just Republicans over there doxing each other. And it's funny that doxing can now be considered can warrant a terrorist investigation, when the thing that I have found out over the years is every time I get doxed by somebody, I literally check with a lawyer and go, is it illegal yet? And they go, nope. Doxing is technically still not illegal. You can be very upset about it. It can be part of a greater harassment case, but doxing itself is just a term we use. It's technically totally legal to do. So it's weird that you could be a terrorist for doing what so far is a legal action. Some states have put in like certain things to bring it into their harassment laws and stuff, but it's fundamentally, especially amongst public figures, there ain't shit gonna happen to people who dox. It's unfortunate.
Oh, it's unfortunately the rhetoric is just going to get worse after what happened today. It doesn't matter who did what. It doesn't matter any of that. It's just going to boil over at this point.
Which, let's talk about what we know about what happened today. So for two major things happen in Mormon world. And if you are the family of the prophet, you're extra pissed. Because ain't nobody talking about the fact that Russell M. Nelson died in a totally different instance. Russell M. Nelson, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, accepted as the modern day prophet, seer, and revelator. That's what we call him in our church. Because I will remind you all, I am still technically a Mormon. Despite my best efforts, they will not excommunicate me, which must mean they think I speak for the church. The current prophet, seer, and revelator died.
Jimmy.
Oh, I see it too. Hey, Luthien, if you could change the name tag up there, we've got a wild Luxander.
Disrespect.
If you wouldn't mind. I told her to do it. I told her. Anyway, the prophet and that is usually a huge day in Mormon world. A big one. And I actually saw that news before I saw the other news and made a post about I said to my partner, we were in bed when I was reading the news, and I looked over and went, good news and bad news. The good news is, because Russell M. Nelson was a monster, Russell M. Nelson has died. The bad news is President Oaks has not. So the guy who's actually following him is, I think even amongst Mormons, they were hoping he would go first. But looks like Oaks is going to get a little bit of time to shine. But that would be the biggest news in Mormon world, except for that in Michigan today. Let me look at what the name of the city was because I'm not remembering it. Grand Blanc, which I believe means big white. Blanc is Blanco, Azul,
Oh,
Blanco.
Blanco is white in Spanish.
Yeah. So big white Michigan today in big white Michigan. Fair enough. Now Michigan's got a lot of non-whites, but not in Grand Blanc. I don't know if that's true. A man drove his vehicle into a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, opened fire on churchgoers, set the building on fire. As of latest report, at least 2 people have died, 8 others injured, some in critical condition. The attacker, Thomas Jacob Sanford, age 40, was also killed in an exchange of gunfire with police. Few things here. First of all, if I sound like I'm totally unaffected, I am. I will listen. Undoubtedly, I'm going to end up seeing the news of some family who was hurt. And when I see the pain on those people's faces, I do have a tendency to become more empathetic then, sometimes even when I don't mean to be. Like there were times where Erica Kirk almost made me feel bad. Then she did the posing with the body and I was like, oh, this is Instagram to her. This is the next stage of her grift. But when it becomes more personalized. I don't want to make
assumptions, right? Yeah. I don't want to make assumptions.
I do.
But she ain't acting like someone whose husband just died. That's all I'm saying.
Or at least not somebody who isn't experiencing a similar state of deliverance from having, I don't know. She's whack. But I'll tell you this. Everybody who's like Jimmy or anybody who's like, how are they not out here condemn? Of course I condemn murder. Of course I condemn whatever this is. Of course I condemn what we so far know to be a Marine Corps veteran. Was that what it was? Was it the Marines driving in? So it was I don't know if you've all seen the photo yet. It's a pickup truck with 2 big American flags on it with an Iraq license plate. And it is a Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq from 2004 to 2008. So the whole thing is weird from the onset. Of course, I don't like, and when I see the families crying and sad, I'm going to feel sad for them. I can't help but feel that kind of empathy. But from a broader level, once again, I have been watching us absolutely annihilate another nation. And the more recent example of something that sticks in my mind and lives rent free is the video of what I think was somewhere between a 5 and 7-year-old girl still breathing, half of her face burnt off, her side open and her intestines hanging out of them. You could see her innards hanging out. She's breathing. It's her last seconds of life. This video from what happened in Gaza came out probably 2 weeks ago and is probably the most graphic close up, because a lot of the other videos you see of kids dying is them getting like blown to bits, but from a little bit of a distance. As you see their arm flying, it's weirdly less visceral, even as it is more violent because it's not as close up. I'm sorry, Matt went on a thing the other day about how he hates what he's become. And I feel very similarly. I hate how desensitized I am to the news of violence because we spent years and years and years saying, do something about do this, do something about do this. And it wasn't a big deal when Dylan Roof went into a church full of black people. But now I'm meant to be like having a different reaction to the thing at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course it's terrible and everything, but goodness sakes, like.
Well, I mean, yeah, like what I always come back to is like, even separate of like just what we see in the news and what we see through all of that, like I see every TV show I watch is hyper violent. Yeah. Unfortunately, like those are the shows that like gravitate to, like
they're the best shows.
And we don't talk enough about how that stuff does not desensitize you to the point in that you're committing violence, but it does make it so that when I watch a video, like when I watch Charlie Kirk get kirked, I don't have a reaction to this. I'm just like, okay, I've seen worse, literally seen worse. I don't know what you guys want me to say.
You know what's weird about that is how we know that these types of events happening actually influence the future of how those types of effects are done in the future. And so seeing the way, the speed, the direction that the blood spilled out of him in that video will actually influence future productions and how accurate they are.
Well, I grew up in my like early teen years on fucking Live Leak, right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen way worse.
Oh, right.
Like
Yeah.
I've been in these internet trenches.
Yeah. Yeah. There were wars live. We've been live streaming wars, and people, I hate that this happened to people. In a way, I feel a little bit like it's an extension of my people. Luthien, were you just trying to say something? Oh, I thought I heard you. Because I do still feel a level of camaraderie with Mormons, despite the fact that I don't feel ideologically with them. But even an active Mormon who isn't like a MAGA slut, like the worst form of MAGA. I shouldn't use the word slut. I love sluts. Can't stand MAGA. But the highest form of MAGA Mormon, I guess not that as much, but a Mormon who's just like otherwise a normal person still has a baseline foundation by which we can relate to each other more than anybody. Being raised in a cult puts you more in common with another person raised in the cult than you can imagine with like even other Christians and stuff. So I still feel a level of like, oh, this one happened to my people in a way. And yet I'm still just like, if I thought I could have an afterlife, if I thought there was an afterlife, if somebody assassinated me, I would have the same level as not surprised and what did we expect this culture to produce as I did for Charlie Kirk, because we live in a horribly violent culture that is not prioritizing facts, is not prioritizing its citizens, it's prioritizing its billionaires, and it's absolutely insane. As we proceed here today, first of all, Luthien, do you believe the caller that's on hold right now?
You don't remember them?
They're a British MAGA person?
You don't remember them?
Oh, have they called before? Okay.
You've called specifically before.
I probably admire your ability to remember the calls that we've taken, but I let the show go as soon as I leave my seat.
I'm pretty sure it was me and you. You might have even posted the video already of. I'm 90% sure it was.
I don't do the clips. I hired somebody else to put the clips up.
Oh, I'm not. I remember them because I said their name like 100 times during the conversation.
Interesting. If you want to call and challenge us on anything whether it relates to what Donald Trump is doing on executive orders, if you are a Christian, if you are MAGA and you think the left is wrong, if you think Christianity is true, if you think we being atheists is wrong, Jovan's got some kind of God, but it's an athist God. His God is at the very least an atheist.
My God is the God of fellatio.
Wouldn't the Abrahamic God himself be, who is Jesus Christ, wouldn't he believe in no gods of his own? And therefore the Abrahamic God Christ would be to Christians an atheist. And therefore, if I'm an atheist, I'm actually Christ-like? Isn't that how that would work? I think I just nailed this.
I think I just had a stroke.
If Christ is God, does Christ believe in a God? Does Christ have a God? Does he believe there is a God greater than himself in control of his world and universe?
I don't believe Christ ever thought he was God. There is no evidence in the Bible of Christ ever saying it.
Okay, let's go with most Christians' logic, because Mormons don't believe that either. Mormons don't believe that Jesus was God. But I'm saying most Christian. I'm just saying your God is an atheist, therefore I'm Christ-like. Anyway, it's more of a silly thing. Let's go ahead and talk to Martin, how shall I say it in the UK? What's the right way to pronounce your name?
It's Martin.
I guess Martin is fine.
Martin is fine. Okay. All right, Martin, what do you got for us? You are suggesting, it says here that you have reasons we should be Republican, and you consider yourself MAGA. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's true.
But you aren't an American, or are you?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay. You just hope America MAGAs, and I assume you want to make Britain great again or something too.
I certainly agree with Trump on a number of issues, yeah.
Great. All right. Well, lay it for us why we should be Republican, other than to not be designated terrorists by our fascist government.
Yeah, so when me and Jovan were speaking early on the line, we spoke a bit about affirmative action. We kind of had an interesting conversation about that. So I don't know if you want to talk about that again, Jovan, or if we can talk about some different issues today.
You and I have two different definitions of the word interesting, but okay.
Yeah, I have no interest in it. We did a call on DEI the other day. Most people who bring up affirmative action are totally unaware that quotas, for example, have not been a thing for a long time, how affirmative action actually works. So if you've already done it, I don't see why we redo it.
Okay, sure. So, I mean, I am aware of quotas, but I'm happy to move on to a different issue that I've sort of studied for a while.
That is to say, you're aware quotas haven't been a part of affirmative action for decades, when you say you're aware of them, right?
There was like a California case that was brought to the Supreme Court, and that was essentially struck down. So you're right, it's been banned for several decades.
Great. So the main reason why people are opposed to affirmative action has been banned for quite some time. So then what is the actual detail? What is the actual thing you do want to discuss?
So I was going to discuss a recent book that I read by Michael Schellenberger called San Francisco. It looks at essentially drug legalization in America and how it's been a disaster. So I think that's one potential reason to vote Republican.
And which drug legalization in America has been? You talking about pharmaceutical drugs? You talking about weed? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about a range of mind-altering drugs like fentanyl, cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, things like that.
Okay, and they've been legalized? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what the book details. He looks at sort of drug legalization on the west coast of America, places like San Francisco, Oregon, Washington State, places like that. And he looks at how it's sort of damaged communities, how it's caused homelessness, these sorts of details.
But they aren't legal. Fentanyl, cocaine, marijuana is legal in a lot of places. And there have been, not only have there not been negative things traced to that, there have been positive. So you're going to have to bring this out to actual, like, more concepts you understand than just generally say there's a book making this claim. Because I'm not going to, on the face of a book that you've offered, just go like, all right, well, let's assume because it's in a book, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, he's a person who's been a resident in San Francisco for a while. He sort of details his own experience of seeing drugs effectively decriminalized in America. In terms of
decriminalized is not the same thing as legalized. So first of all, we've already gotten off to a different start. So you think that Republicans believe drugs should still be criminalized for the individual, right?
There'll be variations in both groups. There'll be Republicans who support legalization, but in general, you find Republicans are much more hostile to legalization than their Democratic counterparts.
But are we talking about legalization or decriminalization?
We're talking about both because, as you point out, marijuana is being legalized, but some drugs are being decriminalized. So we're talking about both.
But we aren't really, because marijuana is not anywhere near in the same category, unless we're now going to start talking about alcohol as well. Marijuana is nowhere in the near same category as fentanyl or cocaine. And it's very convenient to try and like group those together. No, we are legalizing. By the way, we still haven't at the federal level. And you can't say that MAGA is opposed to decriminalizing or legalizing marijuana, since Donald Trump is even talking about doing so. So when you're talking about fentanyl and cocaine and the way these are supposedly ravaging communities, why do you believe it should be criminal for an individual to take fentanyl and do the damage to themselves if they haven't harmed somebody else, as opposed to just, why should it be illegal as opposed to decriminalized?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would view fentanyl taking in the same way as I view drink driving. It doesn't necessarily cause harm, but it puts other people at greater risk. And so if we look at the countries with the lowest rates of crime, we find that they're countries which have very strict laws on drugs. Places like South Korea, Singapore, Indonesia have very low rates of crime, and it's partly due to these sort of stringent drug laws that they have. So yes, if you're harming yourself, you might think it's no one else's business. But if you're putting others at risk, then that's an issue.
I think that you're also... Yeah, go ahead.
Really quickly, you would agree that alcohol should also be illegal then?
If we look at the countries with the lowest rates of crime, they're countries where alcohol is legal. So I'm open-minded on that issue, but I haven't seen the data showing that we need to ban alcohol in order to reduce crime levels.
Well, if we're reducing the crime levels, your claim is okay. Let me actually ask this: crime is already being reduced in the U.S. Crime is already on the decline. So what does it matter?
Well, obviously, crime is still actually quite high in the US compared to Western Europe. So you should aspire for crime to be as low as possible.
It doesn't address what I just said. I said crime is on the decline. It has been since the 90s.
You're right about that, but you can't apportion that to necessarily drug policy.
Well, but you can portion the crime rate being high to, of course, if you legalize drug, or if you have here's my thing. I believe in the U.S., especially if you have drugs criminalized, you're going to have higher crime rates because of the people getting arrested for the criminalization of drugs.
So why aren't crime rates high in places like Singapore, Japan, and South Korea then?
Well, Japan has a much vastly different healthcare. It can be a litany of reasons, healthcare, poverty, but Japan also has Japan especially has a completely different culture around crime than the United States does.
Yes, but that's true. But if all things are equal and we look at two countries that are identical in every respect except drug policy, the countries
they're
not at a lower rate of drug.
Jesus Christ. You can't even say California is identical in every respect. They're nowhere near the same.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know the difficulties in studying societies when you're looking at multiple different factors and you're trying to apportion a causal link. But if we do look at the data, I can cite some studies if you like.
Yeah, but after you acknowledge the premise that if we accept that they're identical in every way except drug policy, that would be a really stupid exercise to do. We could easily go with instead they're identical in every way except gun policies, somewhere they actually do have a big difference and does affect not only crime rates, but the type of crimes and the impact of crime. And at the end of the day, you're here as a person with the MAGA conservative Make America Great Again side going like, hey, on the basis of ignoring all those other things it could be, I think we should be focusing on the freedoms we should be removing from people and not things like, hey, does prison and criminalizing these things actually help the individual? Or would something like access to rehab and drug recovery programs, and also penalizing a pharmaceutical industry, because that's the number one thing you're fucking ignoring here when we're talking about like fentanyl-based crimes. Where did these people's addictions come from in the first place? And then you're pointing to a bunch of countries that don't treat healthcare like a capitalist jackpot. And that's clearly where a big part of the difference is that we commodify healthcare and we allow our pharmaceutical industries to use advertising and marketing practices with doctors to get people addicted to drugs in the first place and make the concept of a drugs fix your culture or your problems culture in the first place, but then not extending healthcare to these individuals, not extending. Look, dude, Martin, if you want to say like if California would criminalize the drugs, but also give everybody access to good healthcare, give everybody access to welfare when they need it, housing, all of that stuff, all the things that we know reduce poverty, then you might be onto something, but it would happen either way, whether or not you criminalize the drugs at that point.
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of free healthcare. So I'm from the UK and I do actually support a lot of those policies that you just mentioned.
And great. It would be a bigger reduction in drug issues to give everybody access to good, comprehensive healthcare than just being harsher on drug crimes, especially in America, where if you want to be sure somebody is a drug addict, send them to prison for drug crimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what they've done in Portugal, they have decriminalized it, but they also have mandatory treatment. So would you be open to something like that as a solution?
I don't know that I'm open to mandatory treatment if the only crime the person has done is against themselves. But it was like earlier, you're like, well, I would say fentanyl is like drunk driving, which isn't true. Driving on fentanyl is like drunk driving. If a person is getting high on fentanyl but hasn't harmed somebody else, if this is possible, the pharmaceutical industry seems to think so since they still prescribe it, then I'm not going to say just because there was fentanyl in your system, you must go to mandatory recovery. Otherwise, why wouldn't we also force a person who does fentanyl for legitimate medical reasons to end their cycle with mandatory recovery? But certainly anybody who is committing crimes or whatever, I would say it is better than putting them in prison to give them a program by which they get better and are taken care of. And on the other side, will have access to income, housing, and all of that. It's the fact that they don't have access to those before or after committing the crime that the crimes are happening in the first place.
Would you agree that if a drug increases someone's likelihood of committing crime, then the government has a right or a duty to outlaw it?
No, because if it isn't that simple. You are saying that as though it is that simple, and it isn't.
But also, you're not holding the standard, Martin. You're not holding the standard for other things. Poverty also has a higher likelihood of increasing someone's rate of crime. We're not outlawing poverty.
We should outlaw poverty. We should put the president in jail we should put presidents in prison if they have too high of poverty under their belt. I don't know that I actually believe that literally, but we should definitely penalize and get rid of politicians who are, especially when there's lots of money to push around to other people, when they are prioritizing billionaires. By the way, you've already lost the MAGA crowd that you said you believe in universal healthcare. You're definitely not MAGA. So far, we have lost healthcare privileges, and premiums are about to skyrocket even more. Even though they're not supposed to discriminate me against me upon the basis of the fact that I have pre-existing conditions. According to law, they're not supposed to do that. My premium every month is $489 a month for my health insurance. That doesn't actually pay for any of the healthcare itself. I still then pay copays for my drugs, for my visits, and everything else. So Martin, you saying I should be a Republican when you disagree with MAGA on the fundamental thing that I think is the biggest issue, and I would absolutely vote for an extremely imperfect Democrat. I would enthusiastically campaign for Gavin Newsom if he would do three things: stop bastardizing trans people, condemn the genocide in Gaza, and promote Medicare for all. If he would do those three things, that's all it would take, and I would be a loud, ardent supporter of a liberal like Gavin Newsom. You're sitting here saying that thing that's a deal breaker for MAGA, you believe in. I think you even can acknowledge that the thing that you are describing, these higher crime rates, that if people had access to comprehensive care, it would actually have a bigger impact than making the drugs illegal, which currently send them into an American cycle that commit a person to addiction. You are saying vote for the guys who won't do the more important thing than making drugs illegal is fucking crazy, Martin.
No, but I also just want to touch on. I want to just touch on what you said before. Like, it is not impossible to regulate out poverty, right? It's not impossible to increase social safety nets so that people who are in poverty don't have to suffer as much. There's a million things we could do. If we know for a fact that the number one cause of crime, at least low-level crime like what you're talking about, the crime we're talking about isn't even close to the top crimes that are committed in the country. They're just the ones anyone seems to care about. But we know for a fact that, like, the way we address this is by addressing systemic poverty. So how about we do that instead? Why criminalize someone, like Jimmy said earlier, for a victimless crime?
So you should criminalize it because it's not actually a victimless crime. People who take drugs are more likely to damage their frontal lobes, and that can impact their likelihood of committing violent crime.
That is, until they do something that actually hurts somebody else, it is victimless. You can't be punished for something you might do in the future.
And you're trying to play you're the victim of your own crime. That's not how any judicial system works.
Say that. No, I didn't.
Yes, you are, because you're saying the prefrontal lobe, there's no victim because the prefrontal lobe degrades. You're saying it raises the odds that they will commit the crime. We don't preempt crimes in this country. People who have a higher odds of being serial killers, until they commit the crime, they don't do the time.
So how do you feel about gun control then, Jimmy?
Gun control is a completely separate issue. We can get onto that. But by the way, Martin, once we do, if you're saying we can preempt crime, do know that the Republicans are also against going after people. Remember down in Tennessee with the whole Tiger King? He kept getting away with sending death threats to that Carol Baskin because, as the guy said, in Tennessee, we believe in the freedom of speech. And you can say you were going to kill somebody, but until you kill somebody, we don't do anything.
I mean, that's absurd.
Also,
you shouldn't be, saying people.
It's both not analogous and I am pro-arming Americans. The only limits I would put on are the guns that are made specifically for crimes, like assault rifles, as far as how many people you can kill in an instance, because then you're getting to the level of military shit. Everybody at some level draws this line. Nobody who is reasonable believes any private citizen should have access to a nuke, because that is too dangerous. And so where that line belongs is the only place we're going to disagree. But Martin, I own assault rifles. I own guns, and go look at my social media. I've been telling leftists to go buy guns like crazy. So good luck with your gun argument.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that if we, from a utilitarian standpoint, if we can ban a substance that might damage a person's ability to understand or comprehend reality, then I think we should do so if it reduces crime rates.
Wait, there's a difference between banning a substance and criminalizing the substance. I don't disagree that some drugs probably should be banned, right? I don't necessarily think I disagree with that. The problem is when you criminalize it, because what we know about criminalization is it leads to lack of care. That's why even Japan, who does have lower drug use than us, the people that do use drugs oftentimes relapse a lot more in Japan because they don't have comprehensive care methods set up. They focus more on criminalization than they do on the actual care of addiction. So when we're talking about using the drugs, it's absolutely a victimless crime. Use of drugs, possession of drugs under a certain amount, I'd say probably is the way you should do it. And then the purchase of drugs are all victimless crimes. Now, if they coincide with other crimes, that's different. Those are other crimes. But those three things you do not victimize another person by doing.
I mean, hypothetically, if we brought in a drug strategy that would reduce ownership and it led to a reduction in crime, would you at least accept it as being a success?
What's the strategy? If it's just banning, we've done that already.
If you want to say a success is in, success doesn't only mean that the overall goal, this is why we talk about AI. If you tell AI to reduce poverty and AI builds a nuke and kills all poor people, it did reduce poverty, but the nuking poor people is not the way to reduce poverty. Let me ask you this, Martin. What percentage of, in America, what percentage of the federal prison population identify as atheist? What would you guess it is? Are you Googling it? What's with the pause? Oh, Martin hung up. Was that one too hard? Because I was just going to go with Martin's reasoning here. 0.07% of the American federal prison population identifies as atheist. So if we're going to continue to talk about things that lead you more likely to commit crimes, clearly there is disproportionately, you are more likely to commit a crime if you are a Christian, if criminals are the people who go to prison, and, you know, especially that's who criminals are, the people who go to prison, according to Republican logic. So if you are 99%, if 99, more than 99.9% of the population in federal prison is religious, it's something like 60 or 70% of that being some type of Christian, then I guess it would be good to ban religion, right? By that same thing, because it would reduce crime, because you would be less likely. If you're more likely to commit a crime because you're taking certain drugs, again, one's prescribed by the pharmaceutical company, but we're only worried about, I think Martin and his people are only worried about when you get that from a black guy instead of from, Walgreens, that's when it's a problem. We need to put those people, we need to preempt their crime. Well, let's preempt all the crime based on the prison records, only 0.07%. So if you don't identify as an atheist, you're more likely. Let's ban all that theism, right?
I want to know what the percentage of people in Japanese prisons on drug charges are.
Yeah, well, but even like, why stop there? Go to like Duterte and Erdogan, like executing in the streets drug dealers and stuff. And boy, there's a reduction in drug use there. So where do we stop on the look, wouldn't you consider that a success? Wouldn't you consider that?
28 as of 2020, 28% of all new male prisoners in Japan are incarcerated for drug offenses, 30% of new female. My problem is, and then we can move on to the next person. My problem is this. We're claiming that Japan is better because crime is down, but that's because they're just throwing people into prison without looking at the underlying cause of the drug use. So yeah, of course, crime is down when you're just throwing people into prison and not addressing care. I like it doesn't actually solve the issue. Throwing away the people you don't want to see in society doesn't solve the issue of addiction. It doesn't solve the issue of how do we keep people from using drugs in the first place. None of that is actually done by these methods.
But you're also, if you're born in Japan, your life is provided for more by default than in America, right? Like that's going to be the case. And then there's also America is a huge country, and we have access to the drugs. We have so many drugs being poured into this country. And before people are like, yeah, by the illegal immigrants. No, totally legally. We are in such a drug fucking culture that we're just ignoring the fact that our biggest drug enemy isn't the cartel, it's the pharmaceutical companies. The second biggest one is when you start to get into cartels and shit. Though arguably it would still be like poverty. What's that?
Fentanyl is primarily trafficked by American citizens.
Yeah, like you guys are, but these are just the facts, and you got to stop arguing with those. You know, you got to stop.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking here. Number 3 is number 3 is my vote. Just FYI.
Let's do it. Garrett in Georgia. Garrett, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan.
What's up? How are y'all?
Just peachy.
We're chilling.
Yeah, so I've never called into one of these shows before, but I'm a 3-time Trump voter. I will not say I'm a Trump supporter by any means at this point of the game.
So would you vote for him a 4th time then?
Hell, I mean, I can't imagine the Republican Party. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, but you wake up tomorrow, Groundhog Day, some kind of fucked up thing happened. No, we're back to November, and it's him versus Kamala Harris. Who are you voting for?
Neither. So
then you're still voting for Trump, because not voting is still voting for whoever ends up winning.
But look, just touching back on just what we were talking about with the pharmaceutical companies. Obviously, I agree with everything y'all just said. But they're in the pockets of both the Republicans and the Democrats. I mean, those lobbyist groups, they force every commercial we see on TV is a freaking pill, a new pill and stuff. And so,
get them all out of it. Get them all. Yeah, the answer is getting rid of Citizens United. The answer is making, especially certain
Democrats
lobbying efforts illegal. We're not Democrats. Get rid of those Democrats. Fuck those people.
Garrett, you ready for the hottest takes? Garrett, here's how we fix the pharmaceutical industry. Ready?
But you asked me if I would vote for Kamala or Trump. So what's up?
Wait, Garrett. I'm gonna tell you how we fix the pharmaceutical industry overnight. We take all money out of healthcare. Gone. All money is gone. You can make no money. All healthcare must be non-for-profit business models.
I totally agree. But this is going to be like
weird you voted for Trump.
Great ideas and stuff. Say what?
Weird you voted for Trump if you agree, because on the one track, we at least would have been heading more that direction. As you were saying, Kamala, by the way, is how you say her name.
It's not just that. I'm not a one topic voter though. That's the thing. Like, so, the last Kamala was not a good candidate. Kamala. There's no.
What was her worst policy she was proposing?
Well, I mean, you got to look at the economy before Trump came in was not in a great place. It's gotten terribly worse, but it was not.
Based on the way, no. Excuse me, no. Based on the way we measure it, it was improving. Everything was getting better. Inflation rates were down. Gas prices were coming down. It was actually the recovery based on the American status quo. If you're a status quo person and not a leftist like me, if you were just going with status quo, Biden nailed the recovery from COVID compared to anything Trump was doing. Not only that, was able to mitigate the level of damage that Donald Trump's deficit explosion in his first term from his tax cuts and bungling the COVID response, was able to mitigate that damage to minimal, to the point that our recovery was stronger than any other developed nation. So by every metric we have, if you are a two-party person, you're not a socialist, you would actually look and go, wow, for my capitalist taste, Biden was actually an excellent president. I don't say that. because I recognize that we were serving billionaires and that the economy shouldn't be measured by how well the stock market is doing, but by the measures by which a person would be evaluating Trump a success, Biden absolutely nailed it.
I made a lot more money in Trump's first term than I did in Biden by far by when Biden was president. I mean,
Yes,
anecdotal evidence.
More, so.
Oh, wait. Did your taxes mess up under Biden?
Did my taxes get messed up? No, I'm a W.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't messed up in any like under any.
No, I mean
either one
like
of them.
I mean like when you say you were making more money, did you get hit harder on your taxes under Biden?
No, not really. No, but no, I didn't make as much. So I mean, like under Trump, I made like a good bit more each year than I did under Biden.
How did you make?
So, I mean,
how did you make less? What specifically happened? Did your job suddenly start paying you less?
no, I'm in mortgage, so I mean, it's like the housing market in 2017, 18, 19.
Oh well, yeah, the housing market went terrible during COVID, so it doesn't shock me. Like,
no, I made a ton of money during COVID. Housing was
you're a
booming.
mortgage
I mean,
what?
the rates
You're a
were so low,
mortgage
everyone's
what?
buying.
You're a mortgage what?
Lender. I'm a mortgage originator.
Garrett, you're talking to leftists. The fact that you did worse as a mortgage lender, predatory as your job is, awful as your job is, please get my nipples harder, would you? Good. By the way, your dollar's now worth less because of Donald Trump. So now you have to make more just to maintain your old lifestyle because of what he's doing with tariffs, because of the inflation that we keep ignoring was because of his first term.
Hey, I didn't call to come here and argue. I come here to tell you. I feel like. I mean, I know that's probably how y'all get views. If people are coming here arguing, I'm not here to argue. There's going to be a split within the Republican Party. The Democrats are going to watch the midterms. Y'all are going to win every election. The next presidency, y'all are going to win. There's going to split in the Republican Party.
Gary, here's my problem. Here's my problem is you're having this revelation now about Trump. We told you about this for 15 years that this is how Trump was.
Let me tell you.
Hang on, let me finish, Garrett. Let me finish, Garrett. You're having this revelation years after we've been telling you this is how he is.
So what?
And now, Garrett, now you're having this revelation about the split after it may not matter anymore because they are openly expressing how they are going to rig the elections, how they are going to go after their political opposition, how they are going to gerrymander, how they are going to fix the election so Donald Trump gets more representatives out of Texas than before, and how they're going to try and use the Supreme Court to stop California from being able to do it, but allow Texas to do it. So your revelation is a little late, and you and I are not going to kumbaya because now you've had the revelation after you already participated in potentially destroying democracy.
That's a problem with the left right there. Yeah, look at our farmers, what's going on. And every time someone says, farmers are going bankrupt, you're like, good. That's not good. It's going to make food prices for everyone go up.
When have I said it's good?
Wait, farmers are going bankrupt directly from Donald Trump's policy. Farmers are going bankrupt directly from the policy of Trump.
Bankrupt. And
I see. You still think Democrats are on the left, and you still think we're Democrats. I don't get excited when even Republican labor gets fucked. And certainly I wouldn't be going after farms. Farms are where a big part of our very strong labor foundation is.
You just said that about me. You said good. I'm glad that your dollar's not going as far. So you're contradicting yourself now.
No. I'm glad that you as a mortgage lender. I think the only way you could have made it worse would have been if you were a landlord. Tell me now how bad the landlords are doing.
Where I fell into.
I'm not going to be able to stand up if the landlords are doing bad.
Won't someone think of the landlords?
Yeah. Are you? What did you do before this? Drop shipper?
No. No, I worked in admin and got recruited into it, and that's a bummer. The job I got. I have a family. Got to feed them.
I do believe in you feeding your family, and I hope you find a more honest, less predatory way to do so.
Do you ever see that movie where Andrew Garfield lost his home, and then in order to make money again, he became one of the people that go in and kick people out of their homes?
Do you know the name of it?
I don't know. Just look up Andrew Garfield on IMDb. Michael Shannon's in it too. I'll watch anything with Michael Shannon, TBH. But I'm just saying, like, that's kind of.
I don't know. I feel America's in a bad place, though. It's with housing and then, I mean, the cost of living, everything. I don't see.
And you voted for it 3 times.
Dude,
electricity prices are up 18%.
The other option was not great.
The other option was better.
So,
I voted for the better option, even though it wasn't great. And the funny thing is the things that I'll say aren't great will be completely different from your list. How high up on your list is the genocide in Gaza?
Oh, it's very high. It's terrible.
How high?
But didn't the Democrats? I mean, Biden was
correct. That's the number one reason. That's the number one reason why Kamala Harris was a sucky person to make the candidate, and it was sucky for them to make me vote for her because she is a genocidal asshole. However, she's slightly less genocidal than Trump and other policies like surrounding people here at home as they affect brown people, queer people, and the like. She was much better on. So if I've got 2 genocidal maniacs, one of them's, even if they were the same, I still would have voted on the other issues as well. But they aren't.
I mean, take a look. Marco Rubio wants to literally remove the passports from any American that speaks out against Israel. That's
how insane is that?
That's crazy.
How insane is that? But no one knew about. I mean, you can't say that we knew about. I mean, but we knew about
all of this
happen.
stuff.
It's insane.
I need you to know something, Garrett. I need you to know something. Everything we're talking about, for the most part, was in Project 2025. We all knew it was coming. We kept warning you guys. So.
You're saying we didn't know about it. The episodes are still up on The Line. Go watch The Line. Go watch the political episodes we did over on The Line in the lead up to the election. I told you about it. We absolutely knew about it. And I'm not magic. I don't have inside sources. I knew before. There's a video of me talking about the genocide in Gaza. I don't think I used that word. I probably used either ethnic cleansing or apartheid. 2 months before October 7th, 1 or 2 months before October 7th even happened. Okay? So this whole we didn't know, speak for yourself, my friend.
Well, I didn't. Think how much stuff we see in the media that is bullshit. I mean, that's another problem in America. On the news, whether it's independent people or mainstream news, you know, it's what do you?
I get it. I'm a leftist. I don't rely on a news channel or the government to do my thinking for me.
You see everything. It's like, what is that? You know, what do you? That's another issue I feel like in our country. You know, it hasn't always been that way. It was actually at one point it was, you know, somewhat of facts.
That's because of a specific rule that was removed. I don't remember who it was removed under. There was a specific rule for journalism that like years ago got removed, and since then standards went hell. Was it Reagan? Let me look this up and see if I can find this while you're talking.
But Garrett, you're like talking to us about all the bullshit. You voted for Trump even though Trump told you he was going to do these things. Trump told you he was going to do the tariffs. Trump told you he was going to be a dictator on day one. But maybe the lie was that it was only going to be for day one. He told you he was going to go after his enemies. Like nothing he has done, especially this term, did he not say he was going to do?
Hey, let me answer that.
Oh, I found it. I was right. Wait, really quickly, Garrett, really quickly, because I found it. It always comes back to Reagan, by the way. Every time you think of something that might be bad right now, 9 times out of 10 goes to Reagan. And it was the Fairness Doctrine, which was set up by the FTC, that made it so TV broadcasters, they were required to present controversial issues in an honest, equitable, and balanced way. They had to. It ensured airwave time wasn't monopolized by one viewpoint. It did all of this. Reagan took it back. Reagan said, no, we're not going to do that.
Well, I think also the media corporations are so big now, they don't care if they get sued, because what's $100 million to, you know, it doesn't mean anything to them anymore. It used to probably be a lot of money back in the day.
Great,
you know,
break
but now
them
they're
up.
so
No
big,
more monopolies.
It's just, you know, it was like, okay, whatever, we'll just keep, you know, and they pay it and they keep going on. But, you know, maybe
if the workers and the people owned those stations, we'd get something that actually served the people better.
let's come back to that. You talked about
How? You're right.
Trump,
You can't under a
weaponizing-
current capitalist thing. I have an alternative to capitalism, though. I'll talk about it another day.
Yeah, you talk about like Trump going after the previous administration. The left did the same thing to him. So that's another reason. I didn't.
No,
I feel like we need to move
they
forward
didn't.
every-
Garrett, you and I saw Trump commit crimes. And my biggest
They all
problem
commit
with
crimes.
Merrick
Every one of
Garland
them
was
commit-
that
they're all
Merrick
criminals.
didn't, excuse me, Garrett, Merrick didn't go after him. The special counsels moved super slow to make sure he would get a fair chance at an election. The only place where they kind of went for him was in civil court in New York, which has nothing to do with the left, and Georgia State, the Georgia State courts, which not only was being ran by a Republican governor and Secretary of State, was supported by them. So the whole idea that it is the left, if something has happened, Donald Trump is outwardly saying, let's go after them, let's get retribution. He's clearly making up bullshit charges. When it came to what he did, there wasn't Biden going out and being like, let's get him. It's serious. It's not a joke. We got to take him down. We got to take him out.
Russia,
I didn't get Biden in your back pocket.
I mean,
no, it wasn't. There was an independent. There was a bipartisan review board on the Russian collusion that found Russian collusion in the election. Bipartisan, Republican and Democrats authored a report that said, yes, we found this to be credible. And now all of a sudden they're going, never, no, we didn't, guys. That was a lie. I know that we said. I know
Why did Michael Flynn go to prison again? I'm trying to remember why did Michael Flynn go to prison? The only thing that you can say is that nobody ever adequately proved Donald Trump directly did any of the shit himself. But remind me why Oliver Stone went to prison, why Michael Flynn went to prison. There was 100% collusion with foreign governments, and he definitely benefited and continues to benefit from Russia and China using social media, using bot farms to get, and he could be doing things to try and stop it. But like on January 6th, when he sees it's benefiting him, he doesn't care how utterly carnivorous it is as long as it is to his benefit. He won't do anything unless forced. And if January 6th happened today, you wouldn't have seen him do that video where he did you're very special, but it's time to go home. We have to have peace. If it was today, you'd see more like the tweet he put out earlier that day. This is what you get when you steal the elections. That's the guy you voted for 3 times, Garrett.
Yeah, I get it. Again, I mean, I get it. And the thing is, though, how do we go about changing the federal government as a whole? I mean, it is, we have 18 intelligence agencies.
We need
18.
more checks and balances in the federal government. Right now, the federal government is removing as many checks and balances as they can on the executive. We need more. The government should not be able to, the president should not be able to unilaterally make decisions about just like anything. I agree that the president should probably have control over the U.S. Army and should be able to make decisions involving military personnel, involving things like that. They shouldn't have the decision to send in National Guard into states when the governors of the state say no. And Trump did this, and the Supreme Court said, this is illegal, you can't do this, but they don't care, right? Because the Supreme Court already said Trump has immunity for any action he does under the official office of the presidency. So it doesn't matter if he does illegal things now. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. Yeah. If he does it in an official acting capacity, he can't be punished.
Anyway, Garrett, make your last points. Oh, go ahead, Jovan.
No. I'm just we've removed all of those checks and balances. That's all.
Garrett, go ahead and make your last points because we have limited time.
We'll say we survived the Trump insanity as a nation. What is the answer in going? Because it is on both sides, and so I get that you don't call yourself a Democrat. I don't remember your name. I'm sorry, but you don't call yourself a Democrat. Socialist or whatever. So, but how do we go in there and change it? Because those people in the federal government, they all get money from APAC. They all got money coming in from all these. They're not going to cut their own jobs. They're not going to change it because they're all. I mean, look at Pelosi and
get rid of all lobbying out of government. Take money out of politics.
It will require a massive political movement like we're seeing happen in New York. It will be people putting on their big boy pants and voting for people that they're uncomfortable. They can't quite figure out why they're uncomfortable. It's because they're brown. And it will require at minimum political revolution. What it may require in addition is a step that we don't talk about as much here, because we are hopeful that we can do it all with communication, with policy, and with activism. And that is my hope. But that would be the thing. And so, Garrett, it would be for you actually going and finding out those things that, quote unquote, we didn't know, that are very present, and aligning yourself with the party that's actually capable of delivering to you things that do serve your self-interest. But I don't think you're ready to associate with, like, at minimum, the Democratic Socialists. You just got a lot of work to do ahead of you. But that's where we're going to leave you, Garrett. Garrett? Okay, he's gone.
I thought y'all hung up. Okay, yeah, y'all have a good one. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. My, oh my, oh my.
I want to point out, people, I think there's something we really could do. I mean, look at we know the reason why Disney brought back Jimmy Kimmel. It's because they lost what, $3 to $4 billion the day he got canned.
Right.
Do that. Fight them with your wallet, and they will fucking cave to you immediately.
Massive boycotts. The only sadness I had was, man, they did that so quick. We definitely should have thrown supporting Gaza on the, like, we are not putting our memberships back unless you give us Kimmel and stop supporting the genocide in Gaza. By the way, Luthien, I assume you can hear me right now. If you will let the person on line 8-6 know, they've called in using an anonymous means. That's not, that doesn't fly. They have to call in with a phone number, especially says they're from Maryland. We don't abide those pro-troll things. So to anybody who's trying to call in, you don't get to use anonymous number blocking sorts of things. Let's see. Justin in, where is it? Colorado, my old stomping grounds, from the good old 303. Justin in Colorado, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Just fine. How's Colorado this time of year?
It's wonderful. Leaves are changing. We just spent some time up in the mountains with my boss, going on a drift trip, catching fish.
Hell yeah.
It was awesome.
It is a lovely place, and a place I probably intend to return to. All right, I'll let you word your point yourself. So.
I'm sorry?
I'll let you go ahead and give us the wording of your argument. Oh, I should have said, Justin, Colorado, you're on the line with Jovan and Jimmy. I don't remember how I did that. Go ahead. What is the case you're here to make?
Yeah, so I was just I was calling in because I widely disagree with the claim that Christianity is bad for, and I'm not going to get into MAGA quite yet. I can, but I think it's widely incorrect that Christianity is bad for the country.
Great. I disagree. I think it's bad for the country. I think it's bad for the world. And I think it begins with the root of, because it's untrue, believing in things that are untrue begins with it being bad, but also because I think that you can see the pattern of the development of our society, both on the world scale and on a local scale, and that every time we get better, it seems to be in the direction of something like secular humanism and away from something like the morality that was laid out in the Bible, and that the Bible actually slows that down, because you need to not only progress, but figure out a way to cherry pick the Bible to make it fit whatever progress and not be even opposed to the progress, like the people who were opposed to abolishing slavery because it was a biblical precept and therefore would be anti-Bible. I think it actually slows down our progress, despite the fact that there are progressive Christians who exist who I think are not as threatening. So what would be your case that it is good for America? With that being my case, that it's bad.
My case is, I mean, on July 4th, 1776, when they founded the country, it's written in the very beginning of the Constitution that we hold all these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now that is
when we getting to the
from
Christianity
principles. Well, it's talking about our creator, and now the country.
No. But creator isn't creator is not an exclusively Christian principle. In fact, that's absurd to say so, because creator predates Christianity. Christianity's basis coming from things like Judaism, and before that, certain forms of polytheism. Actually, Judaism early on was polytheistic, as was a lot of Christianity. And then before that, even more basic forms of theology like animism. So you can't say it's because of the use of creator, which all scholarly evaluation has also pointed to that they weren't being literal. That it is more of a concept and a common phrase of that time. And you can't go with the Christian principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, because the Bible only suggests that those things belong to certain groups, certainly not women, certainly not the wrong ethnicities, certainly not. And in fact, those were Enlightenment principles. It was Enlightenment principles that the U.S. was founded on. And it was the way in which Christian organizations were violating those principles. That's why America exists in the first place, and why the things that you're quoting were written by a deist who actually didn't find Christianity good, and supported by one of the founding fathers who would sign the Treaty of Tripoli, stating outwardly and straight up, John Adams signed his statement saying the United States is not, and this was ratified, by the way, the United States is by no means a Christian country. So I don't know who has lied to you. I assume it was somebody in a church about what you think the basis of the creation of this country is, but that you are extremely mistaken.
I do want to point out that when just really quickly, Justin, I just want to point out that you're talking specifically about the Declaration of Independence. So just to expand on what Jimmy said, the Declaration of Independence was written by Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson did not believe in the Trinity. He did not believe in miracles. He did not believe in Jesus, like the divinity of Jesus. He literally created his own Bible in which he cut out everything supernatural. The Jefferson Bible, he took it all out. He believed specifically, like Jimmy said, he was a deist. He believed that the way that we should be working on using religion is just a guide for ethics. That's it. He didn't believe we should use it for some sort of faith leaning.
And the worst part is,
I think that the mere point of him using that as a point of ethics, right, is, I mean, in the 13 original states, like, it was required that you had to have some type of like Protestant Christianity. In order
Justin, a point of ethics after he cut out so much and got rid of the ethical claims of the first book almost entirely. So we are talking about, hey, here's a basis upon which a lot of people believe. Let me modify it to make it palatable. And by the way, the means by which he would have done that would have been engaging some sort of empathy and a system that looks more like secular humanism to decide what to get rid of and to keep. But the funny thing is that this is a distraction from the original thesis of the call, because you could just point to a different country that is definitively a Christian country, and I will still say they should get rid of the Christianity and go for something like secular humanism that means that humans are the things prioritized. The citizens' well-being are the things prioritized, and get rid of the magic and the mysticism. You could have pointed to England and go, England's definitely founded as a Christian country. It's in their constitution. They're all in their parliament. They should definitely get rid of the Christianity there. Secular humanism will be superior in every way, because everything we do that improves society is, once again, trying to swing a pendulum more toward humanism.
Well, let's get back to the basis of the conversation, which was that I think Christianity, even to get rid of Christianity, I think is completely against what, you know, a lot of leftists believe, and that is equality for all, right? That's what
incorrect. I believe it is very equal.
Genesis 1. Okay.
Excuse me. Hang on. No, Justin. You don't get to make a false statement and just keep making your point. Justin, you don't get to just make a false statement about my position. Yes, you are. You are saying the way that getting rid of Christianity would be against what leftists believe, but you aren't defining what getting rid of Christianity is. So you are trying to move forward with this very poisoned well, presuming that we're saying get rid of it by force.
Okay. So
great. We're not saying that, Justin. So now go ahead and make your point without that being the basis of your argument.
Yeah, no worries. You know, I think a lot of the downfall of this country has come and is because of this whole race hate and other people, you know, pushing hate on other races and
like in the Bible
status in our country. I mean, the
Yeah.
Bible
Does that-
doesn't say that. I mean, in Genesis.
Wait,
well,
Yes, it
hold
does.
on.
What is this?
Let me finish. I've been
Mhm.
respectful enough to let you go, and I've listened to what you've said.
I haven't
and,
asked you to do that.
I'm
Also,
not-
you haven't let me go. I can literally control your microphone. I have let you speak. That's not how this works.
Okay. Well, yeah, but if you wanted me to make a basis on my claim, and so when I read out of Genesis 1:27, it said, "So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him, male and female. He created them."
And what did he say
that's
about the
talking about
Canaanites?
equality right there, and I'm wondering what is so divisive about saying that God created in His own image and equally at that.
There's nothing divisive about using the one verse. It's divisive to ignore the rest of the Bible that racists use to justify their racism, like the curse on Cain, like the Canaanites in general, like
I would argue
all
that
of the
those aren't
times
real
in the
Christians.
Bible that it is okay to commit genocide if it's protecting the Jewish people. Like that would be where
It is
you're
not. I mean-
ignoring, you are cherry picking the part that sounds good and ignoring all of the surrounding context. It's honestly embarrassing.
Okay, well then when you go forward to Galatians,
Great. Another
me,
verse that works.
let
And
me look.
let me tell you about all the genocide you're skipping between Genesis and Galatians.
Well, Galatians 3:28
Yeah.
clearly states that there is neither Jew nor Greek,
Mhm.
there is neither bond nor free, there is neither
Mhm.
male nor female, for ye are
Can I
take this
all one in Jesus
Can I take
Christ.
this
Yeah,
one,
go
guys?
ahead. Go ahead, Jovan. He just did the
Justin,
exact thing I said he was
you're-
doing again, but yeah.
You claim to be a Christian, but don't understand your own teaching. Galatians 3:28 is saying that when we all go to heaven, we will be the same. It's saying nothing about what is currently existing on earth. Unless you agree, Justin, that there's no such thing as males and females. If you believe there's no such thing as males and females and that gender abolition is the way to go, when Paul said there's neither Jew nor Gentile, nor neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, he's talking about when we all ascend. He's not talking about currently on earth because all of those things still exist, right? So this would be a fundamentally misunderstanding of what that passage is not saying slavery should be outlawed. It's just saying in heaven, there won't be those slaves will be the same as the slave owners in heaven. But here on earth, y'all still slaves.
Hey, you got that Bible in front of you?
I do.
Could you pull it up to Deuteronomy 22 and read to me verses 28 and 29? Since we're cherry picking.
Deuteronomy 22, you said?
Mm-hmm. 22 verses 28 and 29. Read it out loud, please. Which version of the Bible are you in, by the way? I'll make sure I use yours.
King James.
Cool. You gonna read it out loud for us?
Bible.
I am, yeah. So 22,
I just like bisexuals.
29, you said?
28 and 29.
28 and 29. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
What do those verses mean?
It was betrothed,
not
by
know?
the way, not betrothed.
Yeah. I'll explain it to you. And you are welcome to consult with the biblical scholar of your choice. This means if a man rapes a woman, as that woman is the property of their father, he must reimburse the father for having defiled her virginity and take her as a wife, and now gets possession of the woman. So you were talking about how the Bible talks about equality. There's no male or female. How's that one looking for you?
It doesn't say that there is no male or female. I mean, there were two genders in creation, male and female equally.
Excuse me, didn't it say it in the verse you just said from Galatians?
There is neither male nor female.
There is neither Jew nor Gentile in Jesus Christ. So when
Keep going.
Jesus
Wait,
came
what's
and
the
died
rest?
and was
What's the
resurrected-
rest, Justin?
What's the rest of Galatians?
Yes. Why are you skipping the male nor female?
we are.
Or are
all
you saying
equal.
actually he is sexist? I'm cool with this.
What is saying in that's what it is saying in Galatians. Is that there is no difference as far as the way Jesus looks at us, the way God looks
Once
at
we
us,
get to
right?
heaven, but
It
if
is
you are raped
highlighting
as
the
a
unity
woman,
of believers, transcending social, ethnic, and gender distinctions.
once you're in heaven. But if you're a
That's
woman,
what
now we go
Galatians
back to
3:28 is.
Deuteronomy, and if you get raped as a woman, you get nothing, but your father gets reimbursed, but you are forced to now be the husband to the person who raped you, which you can explain to me how that's different than sexual slavery in a moment. But if you are a man, totally different law. It's actually a violation of the man's autonomy if you rape a man.
Well, I mean,
You
so
said you have the
that
King
verse
James
is
Bible, right?
detailing legal. Yeah, so Deuteronomy is distinguishing legal consequences for a man who has had sexual relations.
No. Who has raped? Don't do the has sexual relations. I know Republicans like that. When it's somebody they like, they had sexual relations with a child. When it's someone they don't like, then they understand it's rape.
Rape is wrong.
Yeah, no, not in the Bible. It just costs money.
Wrong.
Just costs money in the Bible.
Well, I mean, there's also that thing of like, oh, the Bible condones slavery, yet from Genesis all the way to Revelation is a beautiful image of God saving those people. I mean, when the Israelites were taken captive in Egypt by Pharaoh,
the thing that didn't happen. Justin, what form of Christianity are you that you still accept the story of Moses as true? A lot of Christians have moved on and say that's just a story, since all the anthropological, archaeological evidence points to that there were no Jews in Egypt at that time, and the people building Egypt weren't slaves in the first place. They were revered as essentially their day's engineers and buried in the tombs that they created. So you're already like way off, and you're going with this story back here that's completely made up. That's one thing. But when we're talking about the moral systems that people are supposed to keep throughout history, throughout life, through no matter what the era is, and you want to cherry pick and act like, oh, but God, the reason why the Bible would justify relieving the people in Egypt of their slavery was literally because they were Jews. Because also in those books is when God tells the Jews to commit genocide, and then Moses is mad at them. I think it's Moses, might be one of the other prophets, because they left certain people living, and goes, no. You go kill everything except the virgin girls, and the virgin girls you take as your sex slaves. So I don't know where you like the Bible is whatever you want it to be. That's the problem. You can cherry pick it to say whatever you want and ignore the things that are terrible in it. Secular humanism gives you no such deliverance. And here we are back once again at, you can have the South based on Christianity during the Civil War and the North based on Christianity during the Civil War. So the Christianity isn't the thing that picked the correct side. It was actually the side that behaved more humanist that we now acknowledge was the superior side. And I'm saying, let's skip the Christianity and just go to the humanism.
Well, I think
I don't know why.
Like every principle that I have is based off of the Bible.
But you cherry pick, Justin.
And like,
Justin, you cherry pick.
It is actually your empathy and innate humanism that guides you to cherry pick. Because you're literally sitting there and going, here are the voices.
Where did empathy come from?
Biology, evolution. It is absolutely evolutionarily advantageous for our species to be empathetic. And it is as simple as that.
Well, I think my human nature allows me to argue and cuss at people, and I would like to say a lot of things towards people, but it is only
we aren't the only species on the planet that argue.
That I don't.
Okay, well, Justin, great. You don't, Justin, except for that the Holy Spirit either does or doesn't exist, and if it doesn't exist, then it isn't actually the Holy Spirit. It's that your belief in the Holy Spirit tells you not to. And you might find that if you had an alternative spirituality, I know you're using the like, I don't cuss at people. Weird. Okay. It wouldn't be bad if you did cuss at people, especially if they deserve it. I'll cuss at you all day long, Justin, you fucking menace. It's a weird thing to brag about, that if it isn't true, it still is you doing it. So you don't have to get rid of the good things just because you don't believe in God anymore.
I also just like to just tie it back to what you were saying. You're like, this country was founded on Christianity. Like, yeah, and Christians used their Bible to subjugate black people. It was literally written in advertisements that God tells us to make them slaves.
I would argue anybody takes the Bible out of context for their own gain.
But wait, but Justin, hold on.
Especially racism and slavery.
Who decides what is the proper
Christian
context of the Bible, Justin? Justin, slavery is in the text. It's in the text that God allows it. He has never revoked that allowance of slavery. Not once, not one time in the Bible has God said, don't own slaves. He said a lot of don'ts. Don't work on the Sabbath. Don't wear 2 different clothed fabrics. Don't eat fish or what was it, pork to the other one. He never says don't own somebody.
Well, you know, I mean, he's constantly from Genesis all the way to Revelation freeing slaves and making sure that
Jewish
we
slaves,
adhere to the
freeing
law.
Jewish slaves.
Yeah,
he's constantly freeing Jewish slaves.
Israelites. And then he told the Israelites, hey, now that you're free, you can do the slavery. It's not that I had a problem with slavery. I just didn't like people making you slaves. You can make anybody you want a slave.
Justin,
it's okay
how do you
when
know
you
the context? How do you know your context is better than anybody else's?
Honestly, when I don't understand biblical passages, which a lot of them I really don't, you know what I mean? I go to my elders. And my elders.
Great. And how do you know their context is
they've gone
correct?
through seminary school. It's one of those things of discerning spirits. You know, I went to a Baptist church when I was younger, and it was widely, you know, taken out of context. And
so faith,
and faith
you have
comes
faith.
From God. Faith also
you could
comes
just
from
say
knowledge,
faith,
which is reading.
Here's 19 more words that add up to faith.
My faith comes from reading the Bible and understanding the Bible.
Great. Lots of people read the Bible thoroughly and believe they understand it. So when a Westboro Baptist person comes to me and says, nah, I hate those F words because I read the Bible, and they can prove they read it deeply, and they do go to those verses that are hateful, and they say, I have faith that this is the correct context. How do I tell them they're right and you're wrong when you're both doing it from the same foundation, when it's both of you saying, I'm reading, relying on the Spirit, and I have faith that I have the right context?
Well, I mean, it certainly comes from the sources that you get them from. You know, I mean, I think people can take things out of context all the time, and I think.
So you're not going to answer my question?
The Spirit. Well, I'm trying to.
You're not at all. How do we tell them they don't get to say that their foundation is right when yours is the exact same foundation? Jesus Christ, Justin. How do we tell them theirs is wrong when it's the same foundation as yours, but you came to different conclusions?
Because they're trying to spread false messages. Jesus also warned.
How do you tell them that they are spreading false messages if they got those messages using the same foundation that you did? How do you prove they're false? If you say mine is from studying faith in the Spirit, and they say mine is from studying faith in the Spirit, how do you prove to them without using those things? Because if you're using the same, it can't be exclusive. How do you prove to them that they're wrong and you're right?
It all comes down to the harm that you're putting on somebody.
No, it doesn't.
If somebody is taking the Bible out of context,
incorrect,
and it is harming people around them and them false teaching, they are absolutely incorrect. Now let's go to Exodus 21:16.
Justin, nope, stop. No. We're not going to. Now let's go. Excuse me, Justin. Jesus fucking Christ. No, you're not going to get to do the thing where I want to say this verse. You don't get to make a point and then go, now let's jump forward and assume I was right there and jump forward. Whether a thing is harmful or not, I literally just gave a speech on this yesterday at LineCon Online Live. You should have been there. Patrons, patreon.com/CallTheLine. You do not get to say that harm is the basis for whether something is true or not, because it has nothing to do with it. Cancer exists and has killed many of my friends, has affected me, has affected my family, has affected a lot of people I know, and it kills people, and it's horrible. That is a terrible, harmful reality. I am not lactose intolerant. That is a lie. Even though if it were true, it would bring me so much joy, perhaps all the joy, because I think it might be the key to happiness, not being lactose intolerant. So just because the lie would be wonderful and the truth is horrible doesn't actually affect whether or not it is a lie or it is true. Now I will unmute you. If you just try to jump to verses again, you can answer the question directly, or we're going to move on. We have plenty of people waiting who will hopefully engage more honestly than you have. And just so you know, if anybody super chats at least, let's put a dollar amount on it. I'm stealing this from you, Jovan. If somebody super chats $25 and says move on from this guy now, we're doing it because you are not engaging honestly. Go ahead, Justin. You've been unmuted. You can address the question directly, or we can move on.
Okay. Can you rephrase your question, please?
If you are using the same foundation, now adding the context, as you like to say, now adding that whether a claim is harmful or not, or nice or not, does not affect whether it is true, as I've just demonstrated to you. If your foundation is the same, how do you figure out which one of the two of you is correct? How do you prove who is right, considering harm level does not affect truth?
Well, I guess I just don't understand your question.
I don't know how to put it easier.
Okay.
If you use math to get 2 + 2 = 6, and someone else uses math to get 2 + 2 = 8, how would you prove who was correct? Would you not have to have a system different than math to show that 2 + 2 is actually 4 and neither of them are correct?
He ain't gonna get to answer this.
Oh, sorry, you booted. You're out. Sorry,
Chat,
Justin. I don't, especially a person just, I can't put it simpler. So saying I don't understand the question, I suspect means I refuse to understand the question. Whether or not a belief is harmful does not affect whether or not it is true.
Yeah.
How do you know God isn't
say,
me? Go ahead.
I do want to say he brought up specifically Exodus, which tells me he doesn't read the Bible, because he brought up Exodus, 21:16, which is like anyone who kidnaps someone is to be put to death. Not 3 verses later, it talks about the fact that slaves are the property of their owners, and owners can beat their slaves if they want to. And so God considers kidnappers and slavers 2 totally different things.
He also is completely ignoring that these laws, the laws of Moses and the like, they are to the Jews for the Jews. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill other Jews. And we know that for a lot of reasons, the least of which not being that they then talk about all the non-Jews they're going to kill. It's like, don't say context when you clearly are so shy of it. But you got a preference here? You are muted.
Why do I keep doing that? Are you using the top number or the bottom number?
Sometimes I'll do both. I'll say like 11-1, which I assume, well, that one's maybe appealing to me, but usually I go with the first number.
I would either do 11-1 or 13-2. I like both of those.
I don't care about. All right, let's go political then. Let's go just to break it up, because I'll probably still be in the mode of the other one. Don in California is a Republican, says that I said something that was incorrect about tariffs. I don't even remember talking about tariffs in this episode anyway. Maybe it was the previous one. So Don in California, you're on the line with Jovan and Jimmy. Go for it, Don. Don.
Yes, this is Don from California. Hello, can you hear me?
Don, I don't want an impression.
Know that you can hear me.
Thank you. We don't need joke calls.
This is not an impression. This is a real deal. You're wrong. You're quite frankly very wrong.
I don't
care.
Good
impression.
That was dumb.
Jimmy's better than that.
Well, first of all, that's weird to say when I've got one of the best impressions. Like, come on.
I just said yours was better.
that guy swims better than Michael Phelps. I know, but you said Jimmy's is better than that. Like, ugh. Like, come on, even Jimmy's. Like, wow, I saw you swim, but Michael Phelps can swim better than that. Of course, I can do the impression better than anybody. I was mostly joking. Mostly. But it is, frankly, pretty good. Let's go ahead. You said 11-1 was your next preference?
11-1, yeah.
Braden. Let's do an introduction with let's see if I can still do Stewie. Braden in Minnesota, you're on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. No, it's not me.
Hello.
Stewie was the racist one. It used to be really good. Haven't practiced.
If the problem is one second, Braden. The problem is if an impression is close enough, but not just like not over the hump, it goes into uncanny, which makes me hate that's why I hate those videos of impressionists singing with all the different things. I'm like 9 times out of 10, most of their impressions are not good enough to get over that uncanny hump, and it just sounds weird.
I think with the Stewie thing, it could be also like it's just not different enough from my normal nasal cold voice where it's like, yeah, it's Stewie, but it's clearly Jimmy doing Stewie. Anyway, we're going to start again. Braden in Minnesota, you're on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. How are you, Braden?
I'm good, and I don't know why it says I'm in Minnesota because I'm in Maine.
Oh, that's just common state mistakes made. But if the producer would change Maine to say MN to say ME, people get the double letter thing mixed up. Anyway, Braden in Maine, how are you?
I'm good tonight, and I just have, I don't really just have one question, but I would like to say one thing right now. Why do you think Christianity is ruining the country?
Oh, I think Christianity ruins everything it touches. So if it makes you feel any better, I think Islam is ruining a lot of their countries. I guess all of them. I think religion in general, I think faith-based systems, I don't think there's even such thing as a harmless faith. This is actually what I gave my speech on yesterday. And so if we had a country that was largely based on, let's say everybody accepted astrology, which is a system of discrimination upon the basis of an immutable characteristic and is absolutely terribly and deeply bigoted, I would be saying the same thing. But right now, while we weren't actually founded on Christianity, we are probably in at least practice a Christian nation. And I think the worst things out of our about our country tend to be voted into place and empowered by evangelicals.
Well, I would just like to personally state that I don't support evangelicals in any way, and I'm more of a traditional, could you say, Christian. And yeah, but you still haven't answered my question. Why do you think Christianity is ruining the country?
I absolutely did just ruin. I actually did just answer your question when I said no faith-based system is harmless. They're all harmful. I gave you an example of how I would also say it about about a different one. And so because Christianity is also based in faith and directs people to vote and the like, because it is a foundationally terrible basis upon which to choose your political, not choose, but align yourself politically. That is why, if that helps you a little bit.
Okay, well, maybe let me reword the question. How? Like, can you give me an example?
Sure. Faith in general promotes gullibility and serves the interest of the people with the power to direct the faith. And so when it comes to the Christian faith is easily malleable to be used by fascists, to be used by people who have this concept of my people, my group are superior to peoples of other groups, and they can, despite reading the words of Christ, actually morph the words and use the Bible so very efficaciously to the ends of being shitty to poor people, to the ends of being shitty to immigrants, and to the ends of committing a genocide against 6 million people of one ethnic group, as well as millions more. I would say it's the same process by which Christianity has always been exploited to support things like genocides as well as tyrannical governments.
And just to also answer the question really quickly, I just want to also give an answer. I think Christian nationalism directly leads to white supremacy. And so like Christianity leads to Christian nationalism, leads to white supremacy. So that would be my answer.
All right. Yeah, I was, excuse me. That is completely fair, but I'm just going to get a little technical here. You just said that people use Christianity to ruin the country when your statement is Christianity is ruining the country.
You asked me for a way it is doing it, and I have given you both broadly, talking about faith being foundationally bad so that there is no version of Christianity because of its fostering of gullibility and its obstruction to progress if you take it where humanism should be the goal. I've given you the broad way it does and then the specific way it is doing so right now. And so you're trying to be a pedantic toward an autist who has already covered your pedantry. I understand it's an exercise that'll feel great if you pull it off, but you have failed. But I like it too. I like trying to do that shit too.
Well, then I personally don't really know where to go right now then, so I'm just going to hang up.
Are you a Christian?
Have a great day.
No, don't go.
Yes, no, I am a Christian.
Great,
okay.
Why?
Mm-hmm. I'm a Christian because, I'm going to be completely honest, I've been hopelessly addicted to pornography, and I turned to faith to help that.
So you're not a Christian because you know it to be true. You're a Christian because you believe there is a utility within Christianity to help you with a problem that you believe you have, which I argue almost the overwhelming majority of people who have a porn addiction that is legitimate, it is still actually fostered by the sexual shame caused by Christianity. But anyway, I guess if Christianity makes you not an alcoholic after it makes you an alcoholic, you might still see the appeal. But you are saying you don't know actually that it's true. You just know that it has a function that you think is helping you out, correct?
Well, no. I guess I worded that badly. I found my faith through sin, let's say. So I turned to Christianity to help me, and it has so far reinforced my faith, everything I've seen.
But again, you haven't actually stated why it makes it true. You've said that it is now you're saying it reinforced. So apparently you were Christian before, but reinforced it because it helped you with if I was, you don't believe Islam is true, correct?
No, I don't.
Great. So if a Muslim says I was raised Muslim and then I was able to get over a porn addiction, which by the way, there are Muslims who say that I was able to get over a porn addiction by utilizing Islam, would you say that is an adequate reason for them to say, therefore, their faith was justified?
Their usage of the religion was justified, and their faith, I'd say, would yes, but it doesn't mean the religion is correct. And it doesn't mean just because I'm trying to give a porn addiction using Christianity, that doesn't also make it correct.
You're getting so close. Great. So why do you believe it's correct? Because you gave the example of porn addiction for why. I will still question whether or not you actually have a porn addiction, but I'm not your therapist. I'm not going to work on that. But whenever people say that, it's usually a red flag of I like porn and I'm told I'm evil and disgusting and ever utilizing it makes me an addict, where if you're actually in a healthy sexual society, porn utilization goes down and people reporting porn addiction goes way down. But that notwithstanding, since we're putting that to the side, is not related to whether it's true. Why do you believe it's true?
Because I have been getting better. I used to go from masturbating multiple times every day to just once a day.
But first of all, we have different definitions of getting better, but I already gave you the example. There are Muslims who can make the exact same claim as you, and you already said that wouldn't make it true. So how do you show that it is true, not on the basis of because I got better? Because once again, you haven't designated that porn addiction is real, that it's harmful, but two, that you're getting better is because Christianity is true, just that you have a community of people keeping you accountable. So any Mormon, any Muslim, anybody from any religion could say the same thing. How does it verify that the religion, the religious claims, the God it claims is true?
Can I, before he does that, can I just ask him what's wrong with masturbating multiple times a day? What's the issue?
It ruins your mental health. It ruins your sexual health.
How?
It definitely doesn't ruin your sexual health, but your mental health, that we already have plenty of studies to show it ruins your mental health when you are a part of a community and a society which bastardizes it. So it may be the very Christianity, and essentially this is religion. Christianity made you sick and is selling you the cure.
No. I would like to say I was born. I was born a pagan, I would say, and I was exposed to porn at a very young age, and I've only recently turned to Christianity this year.
Can you just tell me
that is not what you claimed earlier?
Okay. Can you just tell me how it specifically ruins your mental and physical health? Like, give me actual specifics.
Specifics. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I see flashes of things I don't want to see.
Like what?
Porn, pretty much.
So again, this could be a product of the problem isn't the problem being what makes you feel guilty about seeing that porn in your head. And I would argue that it is the Christianity which you're participating in that has given you that guilt. And you're sitting there going, Christianity or living in a Christian culture, now you're changing from it reaffirmed my faith to now it was the impetus of your faith. But living in a Christian culture that absolutely bastardizes sex work, bastardizes porn, makes men who engage in porn feel like they're inferior to people who can actually go out and get laid. There's some toxic shit in there too that actually does affect men. The incels will be stoked to hear I admit it. That's the society you're coming from. You haven't demonstrated to us anywhere near that you've gotten to that the Christianity is true or that your understanding of anything can be addictive. I just reject when a religious person automatically says they have a porn addiction until I have good reason to believe in it, because it is very rare for somebody. It's like the same rarity of the people who are addicted to eating drywall.
I believe you people just refuse to be wrong, and I'm going to hang up now. I don't.
Okay, great. Well, you never actually did produce a reason why you were right. So I'm just going to acknowledge that you are running away because you can't. Because again, whether or not it helped you get away, even if you had a legitimate porn addiction, whether or not it helped you get away from that porn addiction does not speak to the truth of it if somebody with a contradictory religion can claim the same thing. Did he hang up or is he still there? I'm trying to help out Lux at the same time.
Oh, he hung up.
Okay, well, just so you know, thank you, because there are going to be Christians who are like, I don't get how he's not understanding this very basic principle that Jimmy is expressing to him. And this makes us look bad. And so I can appreciate that you, as a Christian trying to represent Christianity, came here and made the Christians look dumb. Thank you for doing the job for me, because usually I get paid to do it, and you did it. I just had to sit back, as though I ever have sat back.
I when I close my eyes, I see things I don't want to. Just took me out. I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying there aren't people who have like porn addictions, because you can get addicted to literally anything. I just think most people, someone in the chat said like men will do anything except go to a therapist. And I'm like, it's true. Like, most of the time therapy is probably where you want to go there, because I don't think you're actually addressing the causes of your quote unquote addiction. You're masking it by getting addicted to something else, which is religion.
Lux, if you're watching, I think I have everything fixed for you. Just tell me if I needed to do anything else. Lux is producing the next show, which I just realized I don't think I've set up redirect for, so I need to do that too. I'll let you pick from those. Do we need to open up another line or two, because we've got 22 minutes?
I think we can hit with. Well, I'm hoping we can hit with the. You do the Alpha. I got it. You do the Lux thing.
Cool.
You are redirect. Do the redirect. You do the redirect. All right. Coming up now, we have. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Kirill from Florida. Kirill, you're on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. How are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing all right. Just
Kirill, are you driving?
Another dollar. No, I'm in my apartment, just chilling.
Okay, it sounded like driving for a sec there.
Slowly rise.
Where in Florida are you from, Kirill?
Federal rate slowly. Which part am I from?
Yeah, which part of Florida? You don't have to be specific, but.
Oh, 305, Miami. You already know.
Okay, I avoid Miami like the plague.
I think. Oh wait, what was that?
I said I avoid Miami like it's the plague.
Oh, I feel that. A lot of people there are ratchet for good reasons. But I think it's very interesting how people are trying to argue for Christianity and argue for this and argue for that. And it's just complete polarity. And a lot of people do not understand that reality is polarity, and human behavior just responds to that. For example, the stock market. The stock market's responding to what the Fed cut, and so are jobs. People are losing hours. People are losing money. So that's what's happening right now. But that's not part of the argument. What a part of the argument is
wait. Before you get to what part, why did you bring that up?
Go ahead.
I just want to know why. Why are you bringing that up? Because I thought we were getting somewhere with the stock market. And I was hoping we were heading into a great direction, like pointing out that the stock market's a terrible basis upon which to define if companies are successful and whether or not the economy is good. I'm curious why you brought it up.
Yeah, inflation. It's room for inflation, of course. Okay. But it's also a place for people that already have money to get percentage back. Now that it only benefits people that already have money. And sure, Republicans love that. The Republicans love that. I'm a Republican, sure, whatever. But
it also incentivizes good small companies to head toward a way in which they no longer innovate. They just chase more money. Because if you as a business want to expand and grow, but going public has to be one of your ultimate goals. And then as far as going public goes, it no longer matters whether or not you're profitable. It matters whether you're more or less profitable than the quarter prior.
Company. You can't go public if you have $50 million lying around. You can't be public. What the fuck are you talking about? You can't be fucking public unless you're beyond a small company. You're fucking bullshitting. I don't know what you're just like literally.
What are you taking issue with? What are you saying right now?
What I'm trying to say is that people argue for capitalism, socialism. It's all fucking bullshit. I'm saying that you're bullshitting. All the rest of the people on the fucking phone calls were bullshitting because they're connected with emotions that are going to connect them with failure. Sure, failure wins us the war. But those emotions
I think a moment ago you were telling me the bullshit I was saying about the stock market, and then you claimed I said something I never said. So I do agree that there's some bullshit happening on the phone, but I don't think it's where you think it is.
Benefit, but don't benefit from the stock market. Now,
I'm sorry. What did I say?
Say that because of the complexity of the stock market.
I'm sorry. What did I say?
What I'm trying to
repeat that again. Repeat that again.
To say, move on.
No,
Krill. You're too slow. Move on.
Krill, repeat again what you said. I said your audio is terrible. It's nothing about speed.
No, you're too slow. Move on. You're too slow. It's not my fault that you're too slow.
Krill, I've muted you because you have to be handheld because you're acting like a fucking baby. So Krill, your audio is horrible, and I was speaking when you began speaking. So what I was asking you to do was repeat clearly what you said I said, because what I heard you say was definitely not a point I made. So I was giving you a chance to clarify in case it was because of the bad audio. If it's not because of the bad audio, and I did catch what you said, you both calling what's coming out of my bullshit and now calling me slow, I love irony more than almost anything in the world, and I will just sit within it. Now I will unmute you. You don't get to choose where the call goes, by the way. You're here as our guest. So now you can either repeat yourself or you can bail the fuck out. I don't give a shit.
What I'm trying to say is that it's bullshit that you're saying that the stock market doesn't benefit the economy while benefiting the economy. It does none. Neither does
Krill,
the Federal Reserve, which powers the stock market.
Krill, that wasn't the point I made. The point I made was that the stock market is a terrible way to measure the economy, and it actually fucks over small businesses, the things that Republicans think that they are for. And ultimately, because small businesses that want to grow need to also aim to eventually to be on the stock market, even a company that has the potential to be good will be destined for failure because of the way the stock market measures success or not. I don't think you are actually capable of grasping that concept, and that's why you repeated it wrong.
No, it's a lack of communication. So
well, I said all
if
the
you're gonna
words, but maybe you
slide
were too
in-
slow.
You're trying to slide in. You're trying to slide in a small comment, which is trying to downplay my ability to process what is going on, and I could process it well. Thank you very much, sir. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the problem.
Kirill, it's weird
in
that
this
you're
country
shitting on the idea of
is
sliding in
because
something small. Please go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead. If you want to interrupt me, go ahead. But what I'm trying to explain here is the fundamental problem of America and the two sides fighting over. For example, you're trying to get your point in while I'm trying to say something even more important than what you're even fathoming. The two sides fighting over bullshit
concepts.
is the reason why America is not getting to the real solution. The stock market is just the fucking symptom.
Don't use the word final when you describe
it.
it.
Create a real mixed economy. Socialism and capitalism can exist simultaneously within a dynamic. We do have a mixed economy, but it's not true. That's the problem with this economy. That's the problem with the human dynamic.
Are quite literally diametrically opposed ideals. They physically cannot exist together.
Yeah. The closest you get to it is that capitalism, when it continues to fail, tries to borrow from socialism and then is destined to fuck up again because it doesn't finish the job. It puts Band-Aids on bleeding wounds.
The term mixed economy is an incorrect term.
Okay, I'm going to let you finish. You finished?
Yeah. No. The term mixed economy is a term that the term mixed economy is an incoherent term that doesn't mean anything. Socialism and capitalism quite literally are opposites. That's like saying, we need to have a mix of both negative and positive numbers. We need to have a mix
why the
of,
fuck not? You're acting like we cannot be humans and adapt to new policies and changes. You're acting like a monkey.
Kirill, what is
talking
capitalism?
like a monkey. Are you a monkey? Capitalism is getting capital. Getting capital off of anyone else.
Kirill,
that's how slavery happened.
Hey, Kirill, have you seen the screen? Do you know, have you actually seen the people you're talking to, or did you somehow call the number?
No, I've seen you guys. And, one of you guys have a cat ear on your headphone. I think it's retarded, but if you think it's cute, go ahead. But what I'm trying to say is that what is limiting America and the human.
Kirill,
what I'm trying to say is that
you define capitalism
what was
incorrectly.
that? You keep on interrupting me.
Yes, because you define
me. Okay, I'm good. By the way, what I'm trying to say, this is why the argument keeps on going, because you're trying to make a point in that doesn't fucking matter. Because what I'm trying to fucking say is that wait, you're not gonna fucking interrupt me, because sure, you can control the call. You can.
Wait, I can literally interrupt you like that. Look, you're interrupted, muted, boom, bada bing, bada boom. You're gonna say I'm not gonna interrupt you. It's just gonna make me interrupt you. That's like, if you did it on purpose, you successfully reverse psychologied me, but we know that you don't have the foresight and patience to try reverse psychology. Not when your psychology is doing backflips. I did like earlier that you said, I'm going to let you finish. And you said the thing about sliding in something small. And I like to combine it in my head. Do you always let people finish first when you slide in something small? Sorry, there's no rules now because you literally asked a black guy if he was a monkey. So, that's where we are. Fucking Christ. Let's see if we should go with Kirill. Go ahead. What you choose one to unmute.
Before he even gets back. Capitalism is not just when you get capital. Capitalism and socialism Capitalism and socialism are literally two. It's like saying I have cold hot. Jimmy, have you ever had cold hot?
Babe, do you want to socialize later? I think that'll make us socialists. If capitalism is when you capital.
Oh my God.
Hang on. I want to try something. I'm going to draw an alphabet here. A, B, C. Big D, E, F. Hey, I'm going to unmute you here, Kirill, and I hope you can see the screen here. Okay. Hey, I hope you can see the screen here. You're now unmuted. I've got some letters up here. would you say that the letter D is a capitalist because it's capitalized? Oh man, it's doing the upside down thing. See, there's a little a, little b, little c. If we're just making up what capitalism is, the D is a capitalist.
Okay, I'm gonna go because this conversation is too intelligent for you to even
Sir,
be patient.
You asked a black guy if he was a monkey and you want to talk about intelligence, Kirill?
You incorrectly defined capitalism.
Because you're not patient. You're not
Kirill,
patient.
you incorrectly defined capitalism. You said the incorrect definition of what capitalism is.
Go ahead and define capitalism again, Kirill. Let's see if you can get it right.
It was first introduced by this French person that was writing the book called Capital. So that's where it came from. If you want to know.
Angles. They did not invent capitalism.
But
remember when he called us the R word?
If you will let me finish, sir. If you will let me finish, sir. If you will let me finish, sir. If you will let me finish. If you will let me finish.
No, okay, go ahead and slide in your little thing.
I am going to say that it is both sides. It is the manipulation of Christians by being capitalized off of Israel. That is what's happening right now. And that's why I've been trying to point out. It's not Christians being controlling this country. It's them controlling this country for Israel. That's what both sides are not understanding. And that's why I'm calling you monkeys. That's why I'm calling the other Christians that are on this line monkeys, because you do not understand how everyone's getting capitalized. That is the fucking system. And that's
Kirill,
why we cannot integrate socialism. That's why Bernie Sanders is not being listened to. That's why I'm not being listened to. That's why we're being called fools.
Kirill,
the people that want to integrate humanity with Christianity, we're being called fools.
Hey, Kirill.
We're being called fools.
You said capitalism was invented by the French. You were wrong.
Hey, Kirill, what's the definition of capitalism now that we've gotten past your rant that if we let go too much longer would have definitely gone anti-Semitic? What's the definition of capitalism?
Like I said before, if you weren't slow, I said it's getting capital off of someone and the system of it.
I'm sorry.
Did you not hear that?
You think that a good definition can include the word, the same word?
Another person.
Gardening is when you garden. Gardenism is when you garden in the system of gardening.
Yeah, that's also just an incorrect definition of capitalism.
It's terrible.
So then explain to me how did black people become the so and so the person that paid for the check for America to exist? How does that happen? If fucking capitalism is not used to capital off of other people, that's how capitalism is corrupt, because it doesn't have socialism to measure it.
Kirill, could you ask the black people
to balance it?
Would you mind simplifying, because we're as you said, we're monkeys. Would you mind simplifying your wide hang on, Kirill. Would you mind simplifying your question that started then? Kirill, would you mind simplifying and re-asking your question that started with, then how did black people? We're too dumb. How did black people what? Would you simplify it?
How did black people, if let me finish. Give me like 30 seconds. How did black people end up footing the bill for America existing if capitalism is not capitalizing off of other people? If that's not the system, you're tripping. You're absolutely tripping. He went from
footing the bill to writing the check. Do you remember he said, how did they write the check for America to exist? And now he's saying foot the bill, but we're the one who are slow.
It's not only because of that. It's because white people and black people, there's been an economic race since the beginning. And capitalism, what it's done, it's shot the black man in the knee, while the white man has time to put a bear trap in front of the black man while he has a chance to heal. And that was all the fucking towns that were attacked by white riots. Now tell me that's not true.
Kirill.
What?
Nobody is arguing with you. Jesus Christ. Nobody's arguing with you that black people.
I don't care. I'm trying to Americans, who's ever listening, that we need to get a centralized idea of this.
All right, I've muted Kirill again since he's continuing to talk over you and not letting you finish the point. So Kirill, once again muted because you can't help yourself.
So nobody is disagreeing that black people have had a tough lot in life. I'm black, my G. You think I don't know what my people have gone through?
You think I don't understand the black experience, Kirill?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jimmy is going to give you a detailed list of black history in a little bit. But the point I was making is that capitalism is not just when you capitalize on someone. People capitalized on others and stole their wealth under feudalism, and feudalism is not capitalism. Capitalism is the ability to own private property. It's the privatization of the means of production. Socialism is the public ownership of the means of production. You can't have both. Either means of production is privatized or it's public. It can't be both. So your claim that, like, when people tell me we should have a mixed economy, I look at them like they're telling me we should have a hot cold. You can't have both of those things. Just blanket. Now, Jimmy, please tell us how Martin Luther King single-handedly saved black people.
Now, so first of all, Harriet Tubman was Adam's first wife, and they had Cain and Abel was able to make peanut butter with Frederick Douglass, and Frederick Douglass has a cool is named Frederick. We don't think about Frederick enough. Boy, you're talking about George Washington and Carver.
I couldn't tell if it was part of the bit or if you actually got. I couldn't tell if like
I made the mistake. I slipped up in a previous episode, and now I'm committing to it.
Okay.
What's important is that we now today can come together and recognize that Obama was a great basketball player. I think I nailed that, right?
Obama was actually in Space Jam. I don't know if you know this. It was Bugs Bunny and Obama, not Michael Jordan.
Yeah. So anyway, now we'll unmute Kirill now that I've educated him at the level he's been educating us. Go ahead, Kirill. You can slide something small in.
I don't know about Obama being good at basketball, but I know that he was very proud of his hit list. So I'll just say that.
Proud of the hit list. What of like?
Well, the Obama administration was very
like
proud
Arab
of
civilians?
the hit list because. No, I'm talking about.
Oh, so not the people they actually did murder.
Threats. Yes.
You're talking what?
So. I'm talking. Well, that's just something that went through my head when you said that. Now, now that we fundamentally understand.
Kirill, did we land on the moon?
Where we're at. Did we land on the moon? I'm not going to answer that because that's too politically volatile. But what I am going to say.
No, it's pretty easy. It's not too politically volatile. You can just say yes or no. Did we land on the moon?
I'm not going to bite the bait.
Did we land on the moon in 1969?
It does not relate with our argument. Now move on.
Kirill, how could you know? You don't know where I'm going to take it from there. Kirill, did we land on the moon in 1969?
You're gonna go into some conspiracy theory that doesn't make any fucking sense without any fucking evidence to fucking prove it. Now go on.
Oh, wait. So why not just say, yes, we went to the moon in 1969?
Because there's contrary evidence. Move on.
Oh, there is? Okay, you're right. We'll move on. What shape do you think the Earth is? A, flat.
I don't know.
B,
do you think reality can hold hot and cold together? Is that like a hard concept to you?
I'll answer after you answer mine. What shape is the Earth? What shape's the Earth?
I don't know. It looks pretty round to me. How about you? Does it look flat?
Like spherical round, or what do you mean by round? Is it an oblique spheroid, or is it like a disc?
I don't know. How about your big fucking fat round head? How about that?
My big fat fucking round head.
You think I'm losing my grip on my own argument? But I want to let you know that your little sly remarks doesn't help your argument. It makes you look and sound even dumber, and that's the point that pisses me off. Because you want to know something? You don't care about this argument, and I'm gonna go. And what I want to say is, God bless America.
That's fine. God bless you.
God bless the black man. Thank you for understanding. But what I am trying to say is, if you will, don't interrupt me. if you
So
will.
wait, I might interrupt
open
you though.
your
What if I
mind to
interrupt
a
you?
mix,
Because you said you're going
to
to
a
rage
truly
quit. You said you're going to rage
to a
quit as soon as I
truly-
stop talking. Hey, Kirill. Kirill, how many minutes do you need to make your final point? Kirill, how many minutes do you need to make your
59
final
seconds.
point? Okay, great.
I need
Go
50
ahead and
59
start now. Ah, damn it, I dropped him. Well, that was an ordeal.
That
was an ordeal. Can you imagine melting down like that when asked what shape is the earth?
I more can't handle capitalism as when you have capital.
Yeah. God bless the black
that's
man, though.
funny.
God bless the black
also
man.
he's a monkey. But also he's a monkey. Don't forget that part.
Don't forget the equality. He eventually said I was a monkey too.
True.
It's
You know
all,
what?
you know, that's equality.
Equal opportunity monkeys.
We don't even need DEI anymore. He thinks we're both monkeys. That's the show. Go watch Forrest and Justin from Deconstruction Zone. Thank you, Jovan, for being